There's something about Peaky Blinders that makes you either completely obsessed with a character or want them off your screen immediately. The show gave us both extremes, and we're going to break down exactly why these characters earned their reputation as the most hated and most loved in the series. The manipulative wife versus the war-torn leader, Linda Shelby and Arthur Shelby. Let's start with Linda, because fans despise her unanimously. This woman represents everything frustrating about characters who don't understand what they signed up for. She married Arthur Shelby, a Peaky Blinder through and through, and then spent her entire time trying to drag him away from life. Here's the thing though, Linda doesn't want Arthur to leave because Arthur wants to. She wants him out because she needs him to. That's the manipulation right there. She's a little selfish and wants to keep Arthur chained to her decisions, not his own. The moment Arthur doesn't listen, which of course he doesn't, she leaves him. Just walk away. What makes Linda particularly unbearable is how she forced Arthur to choose between her and Thomas. That's not love, that's control. You don't make someone pick between their brother and their wife, especially when that brother is Tommy Shelby. Because of her, Arthur becomes more mentally unstable as she makes him choose between her and his brother. As always, Thomas won that battle, and Linda just couldn't accept that reality. Arthur Shelby, however, is the complete opposite of his wife. Even though he's an absolute hothead, this man drives the show like nobody else. Fans can't help but root for him despite all his violent outbursts and anger issues. Arthur came back from the war, and his mental state has been declining every single year since. Quite often, he doesn't seem in control of himself, breaking down, lashing out, struggling with demons that won't leave him alone. But here's why fans love him. He's always been alongside Thomas no matter what happens. For Arthur, family comes first, and he can do anything to protect them. When he killed Luca Changretta, that was his highest point in the series. Viewers can't help but root for him in that moment. The man who everyone underestimates actually pulled off one of the most satisfying kills in Peaky Blinders history. When Linda left him, Arthur looked very vulnerable, and it remains to be seen whether he will move on. But fans just wanted to see him find some kind of peace for once. If you're already feeling the tension between these characters, hit that subscribe button because Arthur would want you to stand with the family. And trust me, you don't want to disappoint Arthur. The arrogant nephew versus the loyal brother, Michael Gray and John Shelby. Moving from wives to family members, let's talk about why Michael Gray makes viewers blood boil, while John Shelby had everyone wishing he got a better ending. Polly's child Michael seems to have every trait needed to take over the reins from Thomas. He understands the business, he's smart enough to handle operations, but he hasn't realized his potential, just because of his nature to get manipulated by women in his life. First, it's his mother who tells him to go to America, and then it's Gina filling his head with plans and ambitions. In Season 5, Michael tries everything in order to become the person calling the shots. The problem is, he still has a long way to go, because first he needs to learn respect and how to be an adult. He's not ready for the responsibility he thinks he deserves. What makes Michael frustrating is his failure to see how he's being controlled. He thinks he's ready to lead, but he's really just following whoever has his ear at the moment. The fans can see it clearly, but Michael can't, and that makes him even more annoying to watch. John Shelby, on the other hand, provides the comic relief the show desperately needs. This Shelby brother brings energy and humor to balance out all the darkness. His chemistry with Arthur and Thomas is scintillating to say the least. The three of them together just work perfectly. John seems to be most happy around his family, and he knows what needs to be done in their business. He hardly ever complains about his role in the organization. He's more like a soldier than a leader, and he's perfectly fine with that position. He doesn't need to be in charge or have the glory. He just shows up and does the work that needs doing. Safe to say, his character deserved a better ending. When he was murdered by Luca Changretta's men as part of his revenge, fans felt that loss hard. John wasn't scheming or betraying anyone. He was just being loyal to his family, and that's what cost him his life in the end. The demanding wife versus the unpredictable ally, Gina Gray and Alfie Solomons. Let's discuss manipulation versus entertainment value, because Gina Gray represents everything calculated and cold, while Alfie Solomons became an absolute fan favorite despite being completely untrustworthy. Michael's wife, Gina Gray, is always demanding attention from her husband. She basically manipulates him into doing her bidding, and right now viewers aren't really sure about what she is capable of doing. Her past is somewhat a mystery, which makes her even more suspicious in the eyes of fans watching her every move. What doesn't necessarily put her in the good books of the fans is how she seems hell-bent on making Thomas retire from his position. She's pushing Michael, whispering in his ear, playing games with the family dynamics. Maybe in season 6, we might get to see the real Gina and understand what she's actually after. But for now, she's just another manipulator fans can't stand watching on screen. Alfie Solomons, though, this man is an absolute treat to watch every single time he appears. He and Thomas seem to have an understanding, as if they know all about each other without saying it out loud. Alfie loves to betray his partners for money, which means he values it more than anything in his life. Yet somehow fans still adore him and his unpredictable nature. His return from the dead in season 5 might have made the viewers celebrate his comeback. Everyone thought Alfie was finished, but he came back because that's just who he is and what he does. It wouldn't be wrong to hope that, at least once, Steven Knight might have a storyline where Alfie and Tommy will be on the same page working together. That would be a treat, wouldn't it? How about treating yourself with a sub to this channel? The annoying wife versus the beloved protagonist, Esme Shelby and Thomas Shelby. Finally, let's talk about the characters who either annoy fans or completely captivate them, because Esme represents frustration while Thomas Shelby is the mastermind everyone can't stop watching. John's wife Esme is another one of the wives viewers just don't like watching. She married John as a part of Thomas's business deal, which already started things off complicated from the beginning. While Tommy wants John to be just a pawn in the game, Esme wants him to be more than that. This means John is caught between standing up to Tommy or doing what he asks him to do. Esme is a little annoying as well, as she seemingly wants Tommy to pay more attention to her and her ideas about how things should be run. She acts like her input should carry more weight in the organization than it actually does. Regardless, she loves John. That's clear to everyone watching. When she sees him dead, Esme curses Tommy for what happened to her husband. Thomas Shelby, however, is the protagonist of the show and an absolute mastermind at every turn. Coming from the war, his mental state is not that of a normal human being. Instead, he has elevated himself to another level entirely. His mind games are almost impossible to penetrate, and viewers just cannot know what he is planning next, which makes him fascinating to watch. His romance with Grace is one of the best things about the show. Their relationship had real depth and genuine emotion in a world full of violence and schemes and betrayal. It goes without saying that Tommy has had his fair share of bad moments throughout the series. In season 5, he lost a battle and wanted to execute himself, showing just how dark things got for the leader of the Peaky Blinders. But we all know Tommy will be back stronger than ever for season 6. That's who Thomas Shelby is at his core. He faces impossible situations, makes the hard choices that nobody else can make, and somehow finds a way forward, even when everything seems completely lost and hopeless. So there you have it, the characters who made us cringe and the ones who made Peaky Blinders unforgettable. If this breakdown reminded you why this show creates such strong reactions, smash that subscribe button and drop a like, because by order of the Peaky Blinders, you're officially part of this channel now. I'll see you in the next one.